What is going on, guys? We are here talking about the Winter Major and the North America playoff scenarios that have to happen for certain teams to clinch the Winter Major. We're halfway through Regional 3, and that means we know a lot that is going to happen for this Winter Major. We're just waiting on a couple extra spots, so I'll run that down for you here. Basically, we're using a green screen still, so keep that in mind. It's a little bit out of focus. I'm trying to figure it out, but hey, it's a work in progress. Let's talk about the teams that are guaranteed for the major first. Team Envy, Energy, Rogue, and Space Station Gaming. They were clinched before this tournament even began, and now they're clinched even further, being all top 8 teams going into the next weekend. G2, they clinched with their win on day 1, which also clinched the Peeps in, and then they also finished top 12, which clinched version 1 in for the grid wildcard. Then also Pittsburgh Knights, by finishing top 8 so far in the upper bracket, they can obviously fall down to 12th or tied for 9th, but they're in. Alpine is in, even though they are out of this tournament. They're the only team that is locked for the major that is not in this tournament still. And then we talked about Peeps in version 1. Peeps had the grid wildcard because G2 won, and then version 1 got the grid wildcard because they finished top 6. They tied for top 6, but that's good enough because there's no reason for Rogue in version 1 to play a tiebreaker when it wouldn't matter for Rogue at all. So version 1, they are also in no matter what happens. They are tied right now at 300 points for the very last spots. So they're very likely that they can make it on their own anyway, but that doesn't really matter. Now, what is left, there's 9 teams here. There's 3 spots remaining. That means top 12 in RLCSX points will go because version 1, no matter what, they're either tying for that 12th spot with points, or they move up, and then we need the 12th in RLCSX points because we don't give out any more grid wildcards past the top 6. So no matter what, we're looking at 10, 11, and 12 in RLCSX points in some order. So moving on. Let's talk about the teams that are left. Not many teams left. 6 teams remain for 3 spots. That is what is up for grabs. Now, let's go through it. The Sonics, they're at 300 points. They have the best shot to clinch their spot. They're still alive in the upper bracket, so that is very good for them. Ghost Gaming, also tied at 300 points, but they're out of the tournament. Kansas City Pioneers, also tied at 300 points. They're out of the tournament. So those are the 3 spots. There's a 3-way tie for the last 3 spots. So right now, it wouldn't matter. There's no tiebreak. They all move in. Doesn't matter. Then we got 3 teams that are below that 300-point threshold that are still alive in this bracket. Loco at 270 points, Exet at 210 points, and Jamal Jabbery at 180 points. Those are the 3 teams left that have to hit at least 300 to play in a tiebreaker going forward. So that is what we know. 6 teams left. Let's talk about the teams below the 300. Or actually, I'm sorry. Let's talk. We did these in backwards order, so we'll go here first, and then we'll come back to that one. So to hit 300 or more, Loco, they're at 270 points. They have the best shot right now. They just need 1 win. They play the loser of Energy and Pittsburgh Knights. If they get that win, they tie at the 300 mark. They will force a tiebreaker at the very least. But if they continue on and they get another win, then they move out of that 300 club and they're fine. They are clinched with no worries there. So that's how they get to 300. And again, like if they hit 300, they haven't clinched a major spot. They have clinched a tiebreaker for a major spot. So say if it was only Loco and say everyone else lost or whatever, we'd have 4 teams at 300 points with 3 spots to go in. So Loco, they could still lose that tiebreaker and be out. It wouldn't matter. Then Exet, they're at 210 points. They have to do a little bit more work, actually a lot more work. They need to get 3 wins to clinch. They can't tie no matter what. They go from, 280 to 310. Or 270 to 310. So 3 wins is what they need to clinch, which is a 4th place finish in this bracket, which is pretty tough. So that's what Exet needs. And then Jamal Jabbery, they're at 180 points. They need even more work. They need to finish top 3. 4 wins will clinch them 330 points. They'll move up from 280 to 330. So they cannot tie as well. They can only get in. Now, one thing to note is we have 3 teams already tied for the last spots. No matter what, those guys, we'll go back over here, will play a tiebreaker at the bare minimum, at least. Or at least a bare minimum is they clinch because none of those teams actually make it up to 300 points. If that happens, they don't have to worry about anything. But the worst case scenario is they play a tiebreaker. the reason being is because not all three teams can pass them, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's talk about the Sonics. They're the only team that is alive in this tournament. They're in the upper bracket. They're at 1 win right now. Well, they need 1 win, I should say. That's either in the upper bracket, which will get them to 360 points, or 1 win in the lower bracket, 330 points. And obviously, they can move on past that. But that is what they need to just clinch and not have to worry about anything else. That's what the Sonics need. Ghost Gaming, they're watching from the couch. They're at 300 points. Kansas City Pioneers probably watching from the Super Bowl. I assume Chiefs will make it. I'm filming this in the middle of that game. They were up 21-12 when I started. Who knows where it is now? They'll probably be at the Super Bowl watching them, or at least starting to travel to Tampa because it'll be the following week. So that's where they'll be watching. 300 points for them. Now, the reason why we can't have these teams completely out by having the other three teams pass them is because we got to look at the bracket. So let's take a look at the bracket. We got to slide down here, the X teams, fancy little bracket here. So the reason being, if you look down here, there's 3 teams that are fighting for those 3 spots. So XSET has to finish at least 4th. If they have a road there, that's fine. They can do that. Jamal Jabbery and Loco. So Loco needs 1 win. They have a road there. That's fine. Jamal Jabbery needs to finish top 3. So if they were to move on, they have to beat Loco, which that doesn't matter too much right now. Because if they beat Loco, Loco can still tie at 300. That wouldn't really matter. But they would have to beat XSET as well. So if that happened, then they would move through to 3rd. And XSET can still get 4th. So those 2 teams can still pass them. But the reason being, again, is I should have said it, is because Loco, once they get that 1 win, they tie at 300. They don't necessarily pass anyone until they get 2 wins. So if Loco got 2 wins, then there's no hope for Jamal, and they would be out. So Loco can tie, but they cannot move past if the other 2 teams also do what they're supposed to do. So keep that in mind. So if that did happen, so say Loco gets 1 win, then XSET and Jamal do what they're supposed to do, then one thing would be chaos because those guys would be going extremely far. But they would be in, and then there would be a 4-way tie or 3-way tie, depending on what the Sonics do as well, because they're up here versus Space Station. They would come down, by the way, to play Jamal if they do lose that game. But say that all happens. There would be a 4-way tie for 1 spot left. So no matter what, the teams at 300, they know they will be playing again. Ghost and Kansas City Pioneers know they'll be playing for something once again. They just don't know if they're just going to be playing at the major right off the bat, or they'll be playing some tiebreakers, which a lot of the tiebreakers, it looks like it's very likely that maybe a Loco wins, and that's about it. We'll see. Maybe Jamal can make a run here, but I don't think they can make a run to 3rd, which is what they need. And XSET, I don't think they can make it to 4th, so I'm not too concerned about those. But Loco winning 1 game versus like a Pittsburgh Knights squad that probably gets smacked around by NRG, I think that's possible. If that does happen, there's a 4-way tie. That's if the poor Sonics, they lose twice. We'll say that there's a 4-way tie for 3 spots. Worst case is the Sonics win there. It's a 3-way tie for 1 spot. It's still a very likely chance that those teams can make it in. They obviously have to perform in those tiebreakers, and lately they have not been doing all that well, so who knows what happens there. But they will be playing once again. So keep that in mind when you're rooting for your teams, when you're super nervous about Kansas City Pioneers or Ghost Gaming, is that you know at the very least they're playing in tiebreakers. You can hope for more, but at the very least you know you'll see them again. So that is it. Those are the major playoffs things that can happen, and it's going to be really fun to watch next weekend. We'll see who wins this whole thing. It's going to be really important as well. Top 4 seeds, because you want that bye, which will be regional points and grid points all combined for that. So you want those buys because you want to have, a later round game. Obviously, if you lose, then you can still come in last, but, you would rather just 1 win to make it through to like a top 6 finish would be great. So that is it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Major playoff scenarios are here. Hope you all enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed this weekend. I'll be back next weekend, back on the desk to explain everything further as we go throughout the day. But this is the basic gist of it all. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.